In terms of commodity standards, we don't have any yardstick that we use to measure our products. Why? Because most of these middlemen, they don't normally consider the quality of your produce. They only just buy what is available in the market. So you might have yourself producing a high quality produce, and then somebody that has not followed good agricultural practices, which will make his produce to be very qualitative, and they will be competing with you in the market.
The general public does not understand quality, does not understand grading. An average Nigerian is hungry, I want to eat, doesn't bother about, the grading part, the quality part, and all of that. So that also became another challenge for people like me who want to produce quality. You have to contend with the general market who doesn't even want to think of quality. I moved my rice from Enugu to Abakaliki in Ebonyi State just to process the kind of quality that is also exportable.
Gwamnati ta taimaka ta shigo ciki 100%. Duk hanyoyin da za a bada gudunmawa akan harkar abin da ya shafi kasuwancin abubuwan da muke nomawa, irin shinkafa, alkama, riɗi, gero, albasa, tumatir, tattasai, tarufu, duk wani nau'i na amfanin gona da muke nomawa ya kamata a ce idan ka tsaya ka bi dokokin da ya kamata ka bi a harkar noma na zamani, to a samu canji a kasuwa.
We are still backward in terms of grading system in Nigeria, and that is why we are yet, that means Nigeria is yet to benefit 100% on the EU market and other international markets. It's very slow, although there are some efforts to make sure that the commodities are graded for internal consumption, but for external, we still have a very long way to go.
The Nigeria Agricultural Commodities Standards Grading Policy is a child of necessity. It is a policy aimed at establishing standardized guidelines for grading agricultural commodities. This involves categorizing agricultural produce and products into uniform groups based on certain characteristics, such as size, color, flavor, ripeness, location specificity, staple length, water content, and so on. The policy, covering the period 2025 to 2030, is geared towards ensuring value is derived across the agricultural value chain, making sure agribusiness players get value for their efforts and consumers get the quality they pay for.
There's a gap in that system, and NABG deemed it fit to work with farmers, to work with processors, to work with everybody in agri-sector to improve the value for our commodity. So NABG stepped in to develop a policy that's for agricultural commodity standard and grading system. And in developing this policy, we sought the help of a consultant who is versatile in that area, and we decided to make it a national input policy.
There are many things that you need to do to your crop to be able to make it marketable the world over. And this is a very vital step. And that's why we are engaged in it. We did a lot of work on it. We are still doing farming up, and the farmers are going to take into it. And then we will get more money. Because if you just sell what you produce in Sabongari market, for instance, it's you and him that will buy from there, and you have no money. But if they take it out, you acquire dollars. So you make more.
It is also geared towards meeting the quality requirements of the international market for increased exports. There are currently 10 priority commodities the NABG is focusing on with this policy. These are cocoa beans, ginger, millets, rice, maize, oil palm, yam, sorghum, cashew nuts, and sesame seeds.
What we have currently is just for those who are engaged in agro-commodity exports. And by so doing, we are basing the standard and grading on imported values, meaning it is what the foreign countries we are exporting to want that we are adopting, not what we should have.
A lot of Nigerians' agri-commodities get rejected in the international market because they are either not up to standard, or they are not graded, or they are not labeled correctly or packaged correctly. So a lot of small-scale producers do not get fair value for their efforts because their products are priced quite cheaply, if I can put it that way. So NABG thought, why not come up with a policy framework that allows for the agro-commodities that are being created or being produced by our small-scale producers to have these standards, to be graded, to be labeled, to be essentially packaged well, so that they don't only compete favorably in the domestic market, but they can also fare very well in the international market.
The NABG is also engaging with stakeholders such as the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, National Quality Council, Standard Organization of Nigeria (SON), National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control (NAFDAC), Nigerian National Accreditation System (NINAS), and even international partners like the British Standards Institution (BSI), as evident in a recent Standards Partnership workshop towards an improved national quality policy.
The policy is there to help strengthen and develop the quality infrastructure in Nigeria so that everybody can be involved in protecting health and safety, the environment, but also facilitating trade, and also looking and making sure that each organization is fulfilling its mandate in terms of the legislation in Nigeria. It's part of conformity assessment, in my opinion, because one thing is having the standard and the next is how do you implement it. And so for this particular scheme, you would need inspectors that are trained and understand. And more importantly, you need those that are actually producing the produce and are having it graded. They also need to understand the requirements. You know, this shouldn't be a top-down exercise on them by inspectors. They should be, as businesses, saying, we think this particular thing falls under this category, and here's the proof of it, and then the inspection becomes very easy to do.
When you say agro commodity standard grading, you are referring to agricultural commodities, and in that case, you're talking about how do we take advantage of the standards created already for agricultural products and then grade it to a particular market requirement. For example, you can take any commodity, let's say rice. You can have short grain rice, medium grain, long grain rice, and whatever kind of parameter I use in measuring them. What NABG is trying to do is to be sure that the farmers and commodity aggregators get the due reward for their effort.
This policy is being pursued vigorously with the inputs of critical stakeholders and the buy-in of players in the sector. It is expected that the policy will be approved before the end of 2025.